I'm here with Kelsey Judd from KJUDD Jewelry and Designs. She is a friend and neighbor, which is awesome because the fact that I know her personally is just has been such a blessing that I was able to get this very special piece of custom jewelry done, which we'll get into in a second. But first, I want to get a better understanding of how you got into the custom jewelry making business.
Well, I kind of fell onto it. Ever since I was little, I loved jewelry. I remember my stepmom letting me play with her jewelry, and it was fine jewelry, like 9-year-old with diamonds on, just playing around the house. And ever since then, I've always had just this love for unique pieces of art on people. And for years, I've had other jewelers, designers help design things that I really loved. So. And wanted for myself. So I was with a company for a long time. I worked for them for almost 11 years, and I was taking a break and somehow fell into this job at a local jewelry store where I learned the trade. And I was lucky enough to get to spend some time with them, learn about the people, the processes, and really understand the science behind jewelry, which is something that I really love too as a biology major at A&M, and I've always really enjoyed biology. And I started to work on my own and opened my LLC this last spring, and that's where it all started.
But I could tell from the beginning that when we first started talking about this piece, that you had the background in it. Just because you were newer and doing this as your professional vocation doesn't mean that the experience wasn't already there, and that was very evident from the beginning, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of passion behind stones, and tanzanite, which we'll get to this ring in a little bit, was one of my favorite stones from like 12 years old. So like I have known and loved precious jewelry for a long time. It's something that I've really enjoyed, and when we go on vacations, my husband and I really spend time looking at other people's jewelry and their designs, and I've always really enjoyed accumulating pieces and learning about stones. And like I mentioned with my biology degree, just how these stones are created, like just gets me really excited, and I've learned how to bring my art and biology background and mesh it into one thing.
And that's such a cool way to bring other aspects of your life and your education into your vocation, into your passion, and kind of the intersection, the Venn diagram overlap of all that coming together.
Yeah.
So, from the standpoint of someone who's searching for a unique piece of jewelry, the search starts typically at your Zales, your Jared, your K Jewelers, these places that are everywhere, and they're trying to mass produce jewelry to the everyman, right? And what you lose with those types of places is the uniqueness, the personal touch that someone like you can give. So, and I think a common thought is that, okay, if I go to that next level, if I go to the point where I get to design, I get to have an input in every single aspect, every single facet, of the jewelry, that the price just starts to skyrocket. And I think that's a common thought, especially for men. That's very daunting, right? Men don't typically know a whole lot about jewelry, much less custom jewelry. So how would you approach someone who's looking for something more unique than they can find in your everyman store, but is concerned about the price and also the process?
Well, I think what's important to remember is that custom doesn't always mean more money. It can actually mean less, and for what you want. So like when we work together, I work with any customer, I'm given a budget, and I work within that budget, and I bring pieces or stones so that you can choose from the budget that you've given me. So I work really well with lab stones. We can do also natural stones, but depending on size, cut, clarity, all the 4 C's that we have with diamonds, we can really alter what needs to happen and how much gold we use so that it stays within a budget. Budgets are to be respected, and makes the process a lot more fun. I'm not like a car salesman when you say you have a budget and they bring you a little bit more just to push it.
Sure.
Yeah, I really enjoy the strategy behind getting within a budget and making a beautiful piece.
And I actually identify with that. You know, coming from the real estate side of things, I meet clients on a daily basis who are like, "Here's my budget, and here are some of the features in the home that we want." So I can definitely relate to that aspect of it. And you know, the customer service is really, I would say, your strong suit, because when you go to a jewelry store, typically what they have is what they got. Maybe they can tweak things a little bit, but with you, it can be as simple as, I saw something here, I want this changed a little bit to starting from the ground up. I want to sketch something out, or I saw something in a movie, right?
Right.
Where you just have such a wider range of needs and wants that you can fulfill for your clients.
When inspiration is brought to me, I love it, because they usually want to put a tweak on it, and then I'm able to bring my expertise in, prong placement, type of metal, what type of stone, is it soft, can I give them a warning, can I give them a better option, those types of things. So that's always really fun to see an inspiration and then reality, and then have a really secure quality piece of jewelry.
Absolutely. And on that note, let's get into the custom piece itself, because this was no exception to what you just described in terms of how it came about. So we had a couple photos of some rings that my wife was inspired by, and then I took notes on how she wanted them tweaked. So based on those couple photos and some notes, you gave me these photos, which we're going to show up here. You gave me 4 different mock-ups, which were all right in the ballpark, and a couple of them included some features, as you'll see right here, that we didn't even think of, but that were very well received. You know, Alex, my wife, was, "Oh wow, I like that," and this was one of them. So go ahead and talk about the setting, if you will.
Yeah. So this setting, this tanzanite, it's a beautiful stone, is a large stone. It has a big belly, if you will, which is the part of the stone underneath. But we want to lower the stone as much as possible for everyday wear, since this is an engagement ring with her wedding band soldered to it.
Don't want to catch on everything she goes by, right?
And the prongs are nice and hardy, so if she does knock them, we have a secure stone here. And then we have the halo that goes around it, which hides a bit of what most people would set their stone, a prong, all the way to the bottom. This has the halo that goes right around the top, and there is no metal between the stone and the ring, because this halo and this cathedral setting that happens here, which allows for the maximum light refraction. It's just like a very seamless setting and mounting up there at the top.
And now that we're transitioning onto the stone itself, so the tanzanite stone, I had some knowledge on this. I cheated a little bit, right? So my wife's engagement ring stone was a tanzanite, so I knew about the variance not only in the color, but in the boldness of the color, the deepness of the color, and
Vibrancy.
Each one is very different. So tell me how you went about choosing the right stone.
So whenever I went to go look for stones at first, I chose some of varying size and then varying saturation and also color. So purple, blue, so and things in between, so that we could really get a feel for what color, what size was going to be impactful. Because I remember us thinking, oh, it might be a little bit smaller, and then I saw the inspiration picture and we're like, no,
Right.
We've got to go bigger with this one. And it really did add that saturation in the color here. And when we sat down and we went through them and we looked at them, we were able to put prices to the different colors and really understand what value we're getting with each one, and pick the perfect one.
So we already have the setting picked out. So with such a variance in size and color and what'd you say, vibrancy of the color, you know, these stones had very different price tags, right? So you're able to say, okay, if we go with this stone, this will be the total price. This stone. So this is the custom aspect of it coming out, where we really get to appreciate that level of direct service, and it's much easier to make a decision rather than, here are the rings we have. Well, which one do you want?
Well, and you get to make the decision. What's special is like Alex is going to see this ring and she's going to know that you picked that stone. Not that I picked it or that someone else at a jewelry store picked it, but that.
And hopefully I picked the right one. We'll find out.
I don't think you're going to mess up with this one.
I hope not.
I'm a little biased, but it is a beautiful stone, and it's set very, very pretty to offset or to really let it shine the way that it should.
And one last thing that I want to highlight, one last thing that you were able to bring to the table, and your experience shines when you're forward-leaning with some scenarios. And one of them was that, hey, we already have, and we'll do close-ups on this so you can see this, we already have an existing band that was soldered onto her engagement ring, so this is part of her wedding set. We can actually, rather than recreate that, we can take that off. So not only are we going to keep the sentimental value of having her original band, but it's also cost saving as well.
Yeah, and that
so
was
we're not
able
having
to put
this.
that into the bigger stone. We're allowed to move that money into making the ring exactly what you wanted to. And I really love that you saved that from your original wedding. And like you said, the whole piece has just got great sentimental value. I think it's important to note too that this band doesn't touch the stone, so the mounting was made specifically to go with this engagement ring. So everything from customizing the stones, the carats, but also how it fit together, which I think is really fun. I'm working on a ring right now, and I'm building them all from scratch, but we'll start with those wedding bands first and then build out that engagement ring to make sure the stone is safe, and so is the rest of the ring, holds integrity for years.
And all of these benefits, all of these features that you bring to the table are invaluable to the process like this. And I will say that the cost for this whole package and the level of service and personalization that I was able to have was much less than I would have anticipated going into this.
Yeah.
Like you said, the expectation is that it's going to be a lot more, and this is a situation where I think, were I to find the same thing at a big jewelry store, I think the markup would have been more. So.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that I am a concierge custom jeweler. So I come to you, we meet, we do all of these things, but I don't have the overhead of a brick and mortar. So
That's a good point.
So I don't have to overcharge to take care of all of this other inventory. I have custom clients and I have custom jewelry that I work with right there in that time. So yeah, it's fun to be able to work with other people's money and do it at a reasonable cost.
Of course, I mean it's just it's such a confluence of factors and interests. And rolling into your vocation, you can tell that not only do you have a passion for this, but you enjoy it.
I really do, yeah.
It comes across well, and I think, I'm blessed to do what I love doing, and I'm sure you feel that same sense of warmth and accomplishment.
Yeah, I really do, and I can't wait to see Alex wearing this ring.
Just a few weeks time, we'll get to see it.
Yeah.
And I'll try and make sure we film that reaction.
I'm very excited for that.
So before we leave, I do want to give you an opportunity to sort of explain what some other projects that you've done or are working on, and what are some projects that you really enjoy, because each piece is so different, and you have rings, bracelets, necklaces, there's so many things to work with. So
yeah. So a really great example of one of my favorite projects I ever did was from one of my friends, Abby. She had some gold from her grandmother's necklaces that she had left behind, and she wanted a black onyx ring. And I love black onyx.
I've seen this one.
Yep, you have seen that one. And she wanted it in such a way that the stone was cut a certain way, that it was a certain size on her finger. So we measured her knuckle to knuckle. So we measured out the stone. I took it to a lapidary, which is a custom jewelry cutter or stone cutter, which is one of my favorite things to do. Literally can't like replicate this ring unless you go to this guy and you have the same stone that I brought in, all of those things. So it's very custom to her. And her finger, like the size is made for her.
Yeah.
It's just so fun to do. And it's got V prongs on it, which is a special way to hold a stone with the sharp corners. And then we made a shadow diamond ring around it. And it can be worn together or separately, but it's so special to her because it has her grandmother's gold in it, and that we got to create it together, and it is literally made for her finger. It's beautiful, and it fits like a glove.
It was a super cool piece.
Yeah, I was
super
really
cool
excited
piece.
about that one. I mean, I have lots of projects going. I also help to refurbish jewelry, so a lot of times.
Does that mean clean it up? Or
Yeah, so multiple things. We want to check for prongs twice a year on your jewelry that you wear every day. So like wedding bands, engagement rings, if you're wearing other rings and consistently, we want to make sure that the stones are secure. So we check for that. And then also if you're wearing white gold, there's a thing called rhodium, and you dip the stone or the ring in it to re-rhodium it so that the white gold doesn't start to turn yellow.
Right.
Which is something that all white gold does.
Yeah.
And you should have done every now and then.
I think most people think that it's just the same color through and through, and then get confused after years and years of wearing it. It's like, why is it not the same color?
Yeah, and it's important to polish your rings. It makes them look brand new. I just delivered one this morning. I think it was like $60 to just polish her whole ring. It looks brand new. She was shocked. And I love giving those back because you find a new love for the same piece that you've had. So refurbishing in the way of repairing and just bringing it back to life. And then also I take maybe old stones or old necklaces like Abby's ring that we were talking about and create something brand new that you would wear. So instead of a piece of jewelry sitting in your jewelry box because it has sentimental value and you don't want to mess it up, you use those elements to make something you would wear. And that really makes me excited because I don't think any jewelry should just sit in a box, you know? It's like it was made to be worn. These elements that I feel like from our creator are just so cool to be able to showcase.
I think that so many people have jewelry from mom, from grandma, and you want to hold on to it for sentimental value, but due to the style of it, maybe the gold that was used, what have you, it's just not fashionable anymore.
Right.
So it's like you want to keep it, it ends up staying in a box, but you have ways of repurposing that, you know, updating it and making it so that they get to enjoy those pieces. That's amazing.
I have a ring that my stepmom gave me. It was a sapphire with some diamonds, and I loved the center of it, but hated the band. It was super thick, and so I just trimmed it down, modernized it, and I wear it all the time. I love it, and I want to revive all the jewelry that we can.
That's
get
awesome.
Back out there, yeah.
Awesome. So thanks again for being here. Thank you so much for sharing what you do and the passion that you bring to it.
Oh, thank you. It's been an honor to be here.